Hey YouTube. Today is day 17 from the RPM challenge. I'm doing an RPM video challenge where I'm doing prompts every day, or releasing videos of prompts every day to talk about RPM and music and whatever. So today's prompt is, what's your process? Just music songwriting process, RPM in general, that sort of thing. Um, my process is usually just based around like noodling. Uh, Sometimes I have an idea in my head, like a particular riff or groove or something that I need to like get down and then loop and then add stuff to it. A lot of stuff, the stuff that I create is often really additive. So I start with a thing and I go through that and then I add to that thing and I add more to that thing and I add more to that thing, and then when I'm actually composing I put all the things together and rearrange them, and then often I'll do like a sort of I don't want to really call it a solo, but some sort of a part that doesn't have a loop that kind of goes over the whole thing. That's sort of generically my process. When I was doing Wasp, that process was really different, because I was doing a soundtrack to a book, and I was using the idea of leitmotifs, which, if you're unfamiliar with the concept, is when there is sort of a musical theme that corresponds with a character in the story. This is something that I learned about when I was doing research on the Battlestar Galactica soundtrack, and it's something that Bear McCreary did when he was doing that soundtrack, and I really liked that idea, so I used that concept in Wasp. Um, so that was an interesting process, because then it was like, um, you've got like this one character and they've got their theme, and then you have another character and they've got their theme, and the two characters are meeting each other, interacting with each other, and you have these two parts that are sort of talking to each other, which I found really interesting. So that was something a little bit different, but most of the time it's really like I have an idea, I have a particular like melody or something, and then I just like start adding to that and building it out and building it out until at some point it feels done. The only time that that's not the case is if like I'm noodling, and I like happen upon something that actually sounds like something else, and then I'm like, hey, I want to do a cover of that song. I did a cover of Mongoloid by Devo, because I was playing with the new synthesizer, and I happened to like have a sound that sounded similar to like the Devo sound, and then I happened to like hit the notes that sounded like the Mongoloid verse, and I was like, hey, let's just run with that and do that thing. And then it was just like, okay, so I have this, I know what the parts are, and I'm gonna record them and lay them down. That was actually the first time, probably maybe ever, that I did all of the instrument parts before doing a drum track. Usually I'll do a drum track somewhere early, and I might add it or change it later, but being an electronic music musician, and being really like electronic music, particularly dance music, is really drum heavy. That's often one of the first things that I start with. So that was one of the cases where that was not the case, and I was just using a click track instead. Um, and Yeah, that's kind of my process. I don't really have a songwriting process really anymore, because I don't feel like I write songs. Uh, like I don't write lyrics, and if I do, then the music comes out later, separate from the lyrics. I think I used to maybe come up with the riff and then write the lyrics to fit the riff. But most of the time, I think I did it the other way around. But it's been so long since I've done any of that stuff that it's almost irrelevant. I did write lyrics a couple weeks ago, so they might make it into RPM, but I don't know. Depends on how much I hate my voice. Anyway, that's me blathering about process. Tell me about your process in the comments or on your own RPM video. Bye.